There's a movement afoot across the United States that seeks to overthrow our legal system and the Constitution to replace it with a foreign legal system that upends our American way of life. It seeks to replace these foundational elements of our constitutional order with Islamic law, known as Sharia. The principles of Sharia are at odds with the Constitution and the laws of the United States. As Sharia fails to include due process, treats non-Muslims as second-class citizens, and prescribes barbaric punishments. All the while, polygamy, misguided corporal punishment for perceived violations of Islam, and acts of violence and terrorism on behalf of Sharia are permitted by its adherents. Sharia encourages violence, silences dissent, rejects religious freedom, and subjugates women and children. Let's be clear. This is not about having the freedom of worshiping a religion of one's choosing, such as Islam, but forcing a foreign legal code that is incompatible with our laws and legal system that provides unwanted consequences to the American people. It's everything we've fought against for more than 250 years. Islamists are forcing their legal code onto non-believers by violence or the threat of it by any means necessary. There's been a 48% increase in green cards to these countries from 2002 to 2023 after 9/11. We must take a sobering look at our immigration policy to ensure we do not admit those who refuse to assimilate and try to establish their own legal code in contravention of our laws. If Texas falls, so does the nation. These efforts to undermine the Constitution and demonstrate political Islam have only been worsened by an unchecked immigration system that admitted Sharia adherence into our borders. Europe gives us a clear example of what will happen if we don't close the door on Sharia now.
Chip Roy talking about Sharia law like it's an actual threat to the country would be simply ridiculous or sad. To reboot this nearly 20-year-old right-wing fear-mongering in 2026 if it wasn't being used as the justification for so many harmful acts, which it is.
We live in a country so great that we don't need the anti-Sharia and anti-Muslim legislation our friends are proposing today because our Constitution already forbids theocratic imposition and establishment of any kind at all, whether it's Christian white nationalism expressed in compulsory Ten Commandments displays, an Orthodox Jewish set-aside school district in New York, or any effort to replace secular public law with a religious sectarian code, whether that's Sharia law, the Analects of Confucius, the Torah, or anything else. So this completely unnecessary hearing, another distraction from the administration's cover-up of the Epstein files and the continuing brutal violation of people's constitutional rights in Minneapolis, is a wonderful opportunity to remind ourselves why our Constitution has 3 essential religion clauses and why they do all of the work that people are talking about doing today. The Establishment Clause, the Free Exercise Clause, and the clause guaranteeing no religious tests for public office. And if you take time to study them, they will dispel all the anxieties stirred up by legislation and agitation like this. This is res judicata. It's a closed case. The government cannot endorse Muslim law, Jewish law, Christian law, Methodist law, Baptist law, none of it. So we don't need a special anti-Sharia law or a special anti-Sharia caucus. The First Amendment already takes care of it. So I would agree with you if they're giving them the power to set up their own police force, their own school system, that would violate the Supreme Court's decision in a case called Kiris Joel, Village School District versus Kumet. That was 1994, where New York created a separate public school district for members of the Satmar Hasidic Jewish religion in upstate New York. And the Supreme Court said, no, you can't endow a religious group with secular power. So if that's going on there, then I'm with you. But if it's not going on, then it's just a compound. And if they own the property, it's private property and they bought it, why would we want to mess around with that? That sounds like you're just vilifying and demonizing people because you don't like their religion. And I know you wouldn't do that. And let me just say finally, to uniquely blockade members of a particular religion, here Islam, from participating in government or politics, the kind of thing you do hear from people calling for Ilhan Omar to be expelled from Congress or deported from the country. That plainly violates Article 6, Clause 3 of the Constitution, which says no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. So let's repose some of our faith and trust in the founders of the Constitution.
Jamie Raskin shuts this down so quickly and so easily. This is very much his home turf, his specialty. Chip Roy is fear-mongering, clownishly so. And yes, as Raskin says, he is desperately trying to distract from the Epstein files and also trying to give credence to the claims of Somali fraud in Minnesota. It's nonsense, but it's also harmful nonsense. Not only how laws like this would be used, or in the case of Texas already are being used to discriminate against Muslims, but because the more they talk about this and waste time with this, there's no progress on solving actual problems. Those Epstein files aren't going to just release themselves. The other elite pedophiles aren't simply going to turn themselves in. We deserve serious representation that will seriously pursue serious solutions to serious problems, but instead we're left with Chip Roy, a serious pain in all of our asses.